people that there's going to be a Dawn Rio practice this Saturday at from 10 to 12 at Yogacara housing, and everybody's welcome. If you're just curious or you want to learn the bells and the drum and the kokyo roll, we're all going to be learning together. And if you're already part of the Dawn Rio, if you'd like to come and share your experience, that would be most appreciated.
And it's fun.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
A week from this Sunday is the March All-Day Sit. The information's all on the website and the newsletter. This Sunday is the Barrio Walk, and it's at the Sebastopol Flea Market, and it's fun. And the sittings are fun too. They're just different kinds of fun. And then I think this coming Wednesday is the monthly vigil at Courthouse Square. So
It's on the 25th.
I think it's the following.
Yeah,
it's the following one. Oh, good, thank
Wednesday.
you. Anyway, I'm just getting you warmed up. Lots of good ways to use our bodies, hearts, and minds in service of waking up.
And maybe even to say that the Sanctuary Coalition is being recognized by
Yeah.
more than
Yeah, the
California
Sanctuary
ACLU
Coalition,
getting
which
reward.
we've been working with and affiliated with, is the ACLU, the Northern California ACLU is recognizing it as the organization in Northern California for this year whose work it wants to recognize. That's beautiful.
That's so great.
Yeah. Glad we can contribute in a small way. So we have been studying, practicing with the Yogacara. Vasubandhu's Yogacara, which is a school and a teaching that bridges early Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism. And the reason that I chose to bring this forward at this point is because I wanted to know more. I hadn't studied Yogacara so much, but two people who Thich Nhat Hanh it's one of his root teachings, and I wanted to understand more deeply. I was just in Vietnam and respect his teachings, and then Ben Connolly, who is a Zen priest in Minnesota and very active in helping in the world. He's written 2 books on it, so I thought good thing to look at at this period of time to help ground us and wake us up and help us remember what's true. So Ben has a second book that I'm just going to be using these next few weeks. Vasubandhu's Three Natures: A Practitioner's Guide for Liberation. Vasubandhu, in addition to writing the 30 verses of consciousness only, which is what we're primarily focusing on, also wrote the treatise on the three natures. Ben's very practical and vulnerable. I really appreciate how much Ben takes the teachings and then really talks about his path through alcoholism and his path as working in the world and caring. So I'm grateful to him. I'll read to you from him in a minute. So just a quick review, the 30 verses of consciousness only. The first 15 verses are based in early Buddhism, Theravadan, and the focus is on afflictive emotions. Pretty much says, if you have a self, which we all do, you will, because of the way we're hardwired, see the world through dualities. Because there's no other way to see it. We see the paper in relationship to the book, or right and wrong and good and bad, and which is, but because we believe it really deeply, then we also get caught in right and wrong and good and bad, and we lose and need to be reminded, which is why we practice. is flowing in and out of everything else. Everything is deeply interconnected. So, because we see in dualities, we're going to have feelings about it. We're going to have thoughts about it. We're going to have all kinds of thoughts about it, right? And we're going to have feelings about it. I like it. I don't like it. I'm angry. I'm anxious. And the great thing about this teaching is it really emphasizes don't skip it. Feel what you feel. Just notice when you're getting caught in habitual patterns and stories and come back, breathe, ground. So we are now entering the second part of the Yogacara, verses 15 through 30, that are grounded in what Zen is more grounded in, although it's all interrelated. We're edging up into the teachings that are not about non-duality. And I always appreciate what Norman Fisher said about non-duality. As I remember it, someone said to him, would you come give a talk about non-duality? And he said, the minute you call it non-duality, you also called it something. And so what are you talking about? So that's our exploration. Is so what is this? And what is it? How do we be both completely ordinary human beings, paying attention to this body, heart, mind, feelings, and planting seeds of goodness and good intention in the midst of it, and also remember over and over and come back to that we are. The world is not what we think. Just don't lead me into the first nature. Well, let me just jump in then. This is, so, three natures. First nature, verse 20, three natures. Whatever thing is conceptualized by whatever conceptualization is of an imaginary nature, it does not exist. So the minute we turn something into a thing, which of course we do the minute we name it. We've then turned it into, it's got a whole concept and a whole spring that arises around it, and Vasubandhu calls it, that ignites the whole imaginary nature, which is not the imagination of creativity and imagining a new world. It's the imagination that's stuck in, I have imagined the world this way, this is the way I see it, it's a concept, and I'm going to keep acting from this place. And then, of course, we know that in the world right now, we're having lots of clashing imaginations about what the world is about. So it's our projections, our beliefs, what we think we are, what we think the other is, and all of our conceptual habits. So we're studying our conceptual habits. We each get triggered in different ways, and the language we learned from early Buddhism is the storehouse, the manas, and the six senses are all part of this. That's the first nature. Second nature, verse 21, dependence and realization. The other, called the other dependent nature, is a conceptualization arising from conditions. So the other dependent nature is that everything is interdependent. Thich Nhat Hanh is wonderful in this, everything is flowing inside of everything else, and you can't separate out the garbage from the compost from the fruit that you just ate, and it's alive and dynamic, and more than it's just the thingness is alive. But Vasubandhu also says, he's following me more or less, okay? But Vasubandhu also said, this is a conceptualization too, because you had to conceive of it, right? He's like, oh, everything's interconnected. That's nice, but all we can really perceive is this moment. And this moment, separate from any other moment, is also a concept. You can see how we just have to keep making it small to get it. I mean, that's just what we do. This is it, and this includes everything. So the practice is be here. The third one is the harmony of difference and sameness, which is the harmony of difference and equality of the Sandokai. It's neither the same nor different. So which he calls, Vasubandhu calls, the complete realized nature. It's beyond dualistic views. It's always the finger pointing at the moon. So the question always is what is it? What's really true? What is this moment? Being present in this moment. It's not a thing. It's empty of any inherent self-existence. It excludes nothing. It includes everything. It's vast and inconceivable, and whatever appears isn't what it appears to be, and it's things as it actually is. So why? Okay, you got it. Now go live it. Okay, so I'm gonna take this apart and follow up on it a little bit. So Ben brings forward in Vasubandhu's the three natures, verse 31, called knowledge, relinquishment, and realization. In understanding how things really are, the three characteristics of the imaginary, the other dependent or interdependent, and the complete realized nature, which is emptiness, suchness, thusness, whatever you want to call it, they're all employed together, and the way that they are employed together is through knowing, relinquishment, and attainment, which remarkably intersects with the Buddha's Four Noble Truths. See, I think this is cool. I don't know if we want this, but I'm going to read you from Ben just because maybe he can help. When we see how things really are, nothing is destroyed or left out. Everything is included. The complete realized nature is thusness reality, but it's only in relationship with the imaginary and the dependent natures. This is not about escape from our imaginations or the vast web of our dependent sufferings. It's about going for refuge within it. The pointing is refuge right here in the center of life, exactly as it is. This is why it's such a great teaching, because a lot of us are wanting to run for cover or put covers over our heads or whatever it is that we do when things become difficult. True understanding, Ben says, is an integration. Generally speaking, human beings take the imaginary nature of things to be real. With practice, we can learn to see how it is constructed by our habits of mind. We can learn to be aware of the dependent nature of each and all things, and we can practice and let go of it all and rest in the complete realized nature, thusness or the ungraspability and the incomprehensibility of this moment. As we awaken our awareness of these three natures, we can begin to think about and directly perceive that they are all present in every moment. This is how we can understand how things really are. So then he goes on, and I'm going to try to bring this forward just a little bit, is so how are things really? We learned when we studied the Avatamsaka Sutra, at least the story is that when the Buddha woke up, it was like he woke up to things as they are, and it was so vast and so inconceivable, he just said, no way people are going to get this or understand this. So he walked around for a while and he said, I'm out of here. and I can't do that. I don't know how to teach this. And then Indra, the god, said, hey Buddha, you promised. And so he thought, and he walked, and he sat, and he came up with the Four Noble Truths. They're so simple. The Four Noble Truths incorporate all of this, and it's wonderful that it's incorporated in Vasubandhu's teaching. I love the way this stuff just keeps mirroring each other. You pick up one thing and all the teachings are there. So the three natures correspond to the first three of the Noble Truths. The language in the first sutra that the Buddha gave after enlightenment was about the Four Noble Truths, is he used the words knowing, relinquishment, and attainment, which is exactly what Vasubandhu brings. He uses the same language, so it's clearly what he's teaching is based on the Buddha's early teachings. First Noble Truth. What's the first Noble Truth? Suffering. There is suffering. The language, we know it, right? Then we wake up to it over and over. Suffering should be known. That's what the Buddha said. Suffering should be known. In the sutra, the Buddha's words, he describes it as birth, aging, illness, and death. Separation from things liked, association with things like, we want it, we want it, we don't want it, we don't want it, please go away. But all of this is just an idea, right? Because everything's alive and moving. What's the moment of birth? And what is this thing that we call death? And what is this thing where my hair is turning gray and I call it aging, but where did it begin or end? I mean, all of it's just like mystery. So, but we have collective and individual patterns that create the suffering, which is we separate ourselves from the flow of life, we turn it into a concept, and then we set one concept up against the other, or we set this self up against another self, which is the imaginary realm, exactly what Vasubandhu said. The imaginary realm should be known. We see things through the imagination, small imagination, through a self that has a sense of being separate from everything else. As soon as we're doing that, which we can't help it, we create suffering, because we're not always going to get what we want. And life is going to bring what it's going to bring, right? So there is suffering. This should be known, not as this is a problem, you're doing something wrong, it's just ground here. What's the second noble truth? There's suffering. There's causes of suffering. There's a cause of suffering. And the Buddha in the first sermon says the cause should be relinquished. Same language that Vasubandhu uses. The cause is a self who wants what it wants and doesn't want what it doesn't want. We want things to be other than how they are. Our life will keep bringing us what it brings. Completely 100 million thousand causes and conditions creating this moment, trying to wake us up. The world really wants to wake us up, but because we keep grasping, I want it, I don't want it, we suffer. Just be aware of it. That's all. I don't want this war to be happening. The practice is sitting in the center of it, letting go of wanting and not wanting, and sitting with an open, generous, sad, kind, receptive heart so that we can find appropriate response. Letting go of any idea of the thingness of things. The minute we call it something, it gets small. The third noble truth. There's suffering, there's a cause of suffering, there's an end of suffering which should be attained. The end of suffering, Buddha says, seeing and letting go of the way things really is. Letting go of suffering coming back, letting go of grasping coming back moment after moment, realizing there's nothing to grasp out there or in here, just this moment. And then there is a sense of resting in what is so that we can actually respond appropriately, which is verse 23. coming back to Vasubandhu's consciousness only. The heart of it is the threefold nature is a threefold absence of self-nature. So it has been taught that all things have no self. All things are without a self. The imaginary is without self. The other dependent does not exist by itself. And the third is no self-nature, which is, and Conway says, cultivating wise intention to alleviate suffering, to act from compassion, and to learn to heal the mind that is so stuck in separation and setting self up against other. I was on a call last night with the wildland firefighters. We do. Emma's still here. We do follow up call for a couple of months after our retreat at Tassajara, and I asked them what they were going to take with them from practice, because this was our last meeting, and one of the firefighters said that at the robin outside her window was what she was going to take with her as teaching, because the robin, she said, it's mating season, and the robin keeps seeing its reflection in the mirror and fighting it. It's like it wants to fight this other robin that it thinks it's in competition with. And she said it just keeps banging against the window, and they finally had to put something there to block what the robin was seeing, because one, the robin was going to hurt itself, and two, it was keeping them awake and disturbing them all the time. So, I mean, that's really what we're doing. It's such a great metaphor and so beautiful that she completely got it, you know? It's like we laugh and we get it, but then, you know, what are we banging our heads against? So meditation is the same way. It's like, oh, just calm down, sweetie. It's just this, just here. So I thought I would follow this up in case you aren't already completely confused, but I always figure if you plant enough seeds, something in this will, like the robin, stick. This is Suzuki Roshi in the way that I think he explains it. Ordinary mind, Buddha mind. Says the point of my talk, and I would say too, this talk, is to give you some support for your practice. There is no need for you to remember what I say. You don't have to study Vasubandhu. You don't have to remember the 3 points. You don't have to know any of this. If you stick to it, you stick to the support and not the tree itself. A tree, when it is strong, may still want some support, but the most important thing is the tree itself, not the support. Just come back. I think Zazen is just sitting like a tree. I think Zazen body, living, just upright, present. I am one tree, and each of you is one tree. You should stand up by yourself, moment after moment. When a tree stands up by itself, we call that tree a Buddha. In other words, when you practice Zazen in its true sense, you are really Buddha. Sometimes we call it a tree, and sometimes we call it Buddha. Buddha, tree, or you are many names of one Buddha. You're a Buddha. Everything and everybody is a Buddha waking up to be a Buddha. Even the person that we think, excuse me, is the most dumb and the most awful. In case you have any opinions about anything, everybody is a Buddha waking up to be Buddha. That changes the way we be and how we perceive the world. When you sit, you are independent from various beings, and you are related to various beings. And when you have perfect composure in your practice, you include everything. You are not just you. You are the whole world or the whole cosmos, and you are a Buddha. And when you sit, you are an ordinary human being, and you are a Buddha. 3 natures completely. You are completely you are completely interdependent with everything, and when you know that, you are completely a Buddha. Before you sit, you may stick to the idea that you are ordinary. So when you sit, you are not the same being as you are before you sit. Do you understand? You may say that it is not possible to be ordinary and holy. When you think that way, your understanding is one-sided. In Japanese, we call someone who understands things from just one side a tambankan, someone who carries a board on his shoulder. Because you carry a big board on your shoulder, you cannot see the other side. You think you are just an ordinary human, or an ordinary bird, fighting the image in the window. But if you take the board off, you will understand, oh, I am a Buddha too. How can I be both Buddha and an ordinary human? It is amazing. This is enlightenment. Buddha, in its true sense, is not any different from ordinary mind, and ordinary mind is not apart from what is holy. This is complete understanding of ourself. And when we practice Zazen with this understanding, it is true Zazen. If you keep practicing, you will naturally have this understanding and this feeling. It will not just be intellectual, you will have the actual feeling. So here are the three natures that I think he completely talks about here. Ordinary mind, imaginary mind, understands things dualistically. But even though we are doing what we do, that is actually also Buddha's activity. Buddha's mind, Buddha's activity, and our activity are not different. They're not different. Someone may say that such and such is Buddha's mind, and thus and so is ordinary mind, but there is no need to explain it that way. When we do something, we cannot say, I am doing something, because there is no one who is independent from others. When I say something, you will hear it. I cannot do anything by myself, just for myself. We just keep walking around thinking, getting mad at ourselves for being selfish and self-centered. And being selfish and self-centered because I'm the center of my universe and I really do like myself and I really want to get what I want. And anyway, we know this. If someone does something, everyone will be doing something. Your action of body, speech, and mind ripple across the entire universe. Moment after moment, we continue our activity, which is Buddha's activity. Our activity is both cosmic and personal. As Dogen Zenji said, we human beings attach to something that is not real and forget all about what is real. We attach to something that is not real and forget all about what is real. That is actually what we do. If you realize this point, you will have perfect composure and you can trust yourself. You can just trust yourself to be completely you in this moment, expressing yourself, and then see what happens in the next moment. Express yourself and express yourself. Whatever happens to you, it doesn't matter, you trust yourself, and this is not the usual trust or belief in what is not real. Our life is momentary, and at the same time, each moment includes its own past and future. In this way, our momentary and eternal life will continue. This is how we actually lead our everyday life. This is how we stop wars. This is how we care for each other. This is how we open our hearts to compassion. This is how we enjoy our everyday life and how we have freedom from various difficulties. Okay, so here I was thinking, and this is for Jennifer and for any of us. I was sick in bed for a long time, and I was thinking about these things. I was just practicing Zazen in bed. I should enjoy being in bed. And then he laughs. Sometimes it was difficult. But then I laughed at myself and said, why is it so difficult? Why don't you enjoy your difficulties? That is, I think, our practice. Thank you very much. question, but difficulties, what is it to enjoy your difficulties? What is it to enjoy, to find joy and presence and uprightness right in the midst of whatever our personal difficulties are, body, speech, and mind, and the difficulties of the world? I'll read this again. Sometimes it is difficult, but then I laughed at myself. Why is it so difficult? Why don't you enjoy your difficulties? That is our practice. How do we find joy and love and compassion right in the midst of the difficulties? So little personal stories are always good. Let's put you in, I'll put you in small groups. You have about 15 minutes maybe. Each person 2 or 3 minutes just to kind of turn this. How's this? And maybe a personal experience comes up.